Hello, this is a quick video to demonstrate how it's possible to extract the vocals and instruments from a piece of music and boost the vocals relative to the instruments so that the words are easier to hear. So on screen at the moment is Audacity, and it's an open source free audio editor. I'm now going to load in a particular song by someone I know called Megan, and this song has had some airplay on the BBC, so that's why I've chosen it really. And now what we're going to do is just play the first part of it, just so as you get some familiarity as it is. This is the released music. Okay, well, don't worry, that was just the introduction. So I've automated the steps involved here, and basically I'm going to bring up a macro I created, and the macro is just a sequence of instructions so that I don't have to do this repeatedly with every musical track. And more to the point, it's possible, rather than work with the project that you can see on screen at the moment, it's possible to just point Audacity in the direction of a folder containing files and just let it get on with it. So you could do as many albums as you want this way. So what I'll do now, I'll go into if you can see my mouse pointer, I'm going into Tools and get the Macro Manager up to show you my sequence of instructions. This is I'll just expand this just now. So basically what I'm using is something provided by Intel, and it's called OpenVINO, and it uses AI to get a very good result in separating or teasing out the vocals and the instruments from the music. Now, it's always been possible to do this, but this just adds and does it in high quality. It gives you a high quality result really, and of course this is free, and it's which is why I'm using it really. So we could look at the detail of this, but it's just a series of steps which where I extract the vocals and the instruments, and I'm going to give a relative boost to the vocals of 9 dB relative to peak values, and I'm going to recombine them and let you hear the results. Now the numbers I've chosen are a bit arbitrary. This is just to demonstrate it. I'm not suggesting you use these particular numbers or do it in this particular way with peak value. So I'll just get rid of that, and I'll now, if you can look at my little mouse pointer, I'm going into Tools and I'm going to apply the macro, which is vocals 9 dB over instruments peak value. Okay, so I'll start that going just now, and this will take a while. I've got it, I can see I've got it just using the CPU on my budget and somewhat dated desktop PC, so it reckons it'll take over 3 minutes. So what I'll do is I'll pause the video and I'll resume it once it's closer to completion really. And after it's completed, you'll find it runs through the rest of the steps quite fast really. So welcome back. The process of teasing out the vocals and instruments into separate tracks is almost finished. What will happen next is that the vocals I normalized to -5 dB peak value and instruments to -14 dB, and then combine it. That part will run through very quickly, and also it finishes by exporting to MP3. That's all automated. I should say there are other ways to make vocals clear. One is to make full use of the stereo field and have your vocals centered in most of the instruments panned left and right. And there are various other techniques focusing on vocals to make them clear, but this is quite basic. It's using effectively a volume boost, give the vocals a volume advantage. Now this is the rest of it happening. It's happening fairly quickly. And once again, I should say that this is the project which is visible on screen. It's possible to point that macro at a folder containing as many albums or tracks as you want and just let it get on with it without all this interactive stuff on screen. Okay, so now that it's done, I'm just going to get all the music on screen by using a keyboard shortcut, if I can remember. There we go. So what can we see on screen? Let's have a look at the top here. As you've previously seen, is the original track, and at the bottom is the end result of giving a relative volume boost to the vocals relative to instruments. You can see the top one is very uniform. Oh, sorry, the top one is quite uniform like that. It should be saying Audacity, most of the energy is represented in, most of the energy is in the lighter blue. And we come down here, we can compare and we can see the vocals punching through that. So the relative boost in volume or gain has worked. So before I go on and tell you and demonstrate the results, let's have a look at what Megan had done professionally. This is the instrumental track. I normalized it to -11 dB. And when Megan sings, there's something at its most basic level called auto-ducking, which reduces the music in volume at the moment Megan's singing. There's also, in more general terms, side chaining, where in this case the vocals can be used as a controlling input to bring about some change in the instrument. So sometimes what people would do is kind of suppress the frequencies or pitch that in some way is contesting for your attention with the vocals. I don't know the details of what's going on in here because I'm well in my 60s and my hearing just notices the basics. For people who want to analyse things, it's possible to duplicate the track and say bring up a spectrogram and so on. You can do all that stuff, but I'm not doing it. Okay, so I'll just demonstrate that in the original mastered version by playing, and you'll notice the instrument volume diminishing during the time when Megan's singing. Diminish, diminish, diminish. Okay, so you saw that happening. That's all the original music. So let's solo to the original track. We'll go to the beginning and I'm going to play the music, but I'll be jumping between the original here and the end result of what I've done, the relative volume boost to vocals. We'll just play it and hopefully you'll notice some differences. Okay, so I'll set this going now.
Play nice, won't stick around more than twice. I'm just out here looking for for something good. I'm a sweet bisexual, or whatever that's supposed to mean. And my greed is unintentional. I'm just trying to keep them clean. I'm trying to keep them clean. Hey, hey. I'm not gay enough, I'm not straight enough, I'm somewhere in between. I won't fall in love, I don't stick around much, and I'll never keep it clean.
Well, hopefully that was noticeable there. So, just before I go, I'll play the last part of the track so you can hear and continue to flip between the two. Megan's music is it's about young people talking about the things that matter to young people. And I remember when I was young, such a song would be controversial and the BBC might hesitate a bit to play it. But Megan has had some airplay on the BBC with this. And I'm well in my 60s, so I think my song would be about aches and pains and so on, which is increasingly common as you get older. I don't know if anyone would want to buy it. So I'll just play out, I'll continue playing out. And remember, the advantage of this whole approach is that you can go through a whole batch of tracks. If you've got a music collection and you're struggling to hear the music, the words in the music, then something like this approach might help. And remember, the numbers I've chosen were kind of arbitrary. It's just to demonstrate it. And I did focus on peak value. There are other ways to do things, but let's get on with the music. It's quite a catchy little tune, this one. I quite like it, really. So I'll play out and I'll just flip between the two tracks. Here we go. We'll start from about there and play out with this.
I won't fall in love, I don't stick around much, and I'll never keep it clean. I'm a sweet bisexual, or whatever that's supposed to mean. And my greed is unintentional. I'm just trying to keep them clean. I'm trying to keep them clean. Oh yeah.
Well, that was a nice bit of vocalization from Megan, and I think that's it demonstrated, really. Welcome back to the second part of the video. What's different this time is I haven't loaded any music into the project window. I'm considering the following folder here, where I've got a number of Megan's tracks, and rather than do things interactively with the music, I'm going to apply the macro to all of these tracks. It will take a while to work through, but let's see how this is done. I'll just shift that out the way at the moment. So we go to Tools, and this time, rather than applying macro, I'm going to have to go into Macro Manager. There it is. There you can see the wee macro. Don't need to see all of it. So it's going to apply that, making the vocals 9 dB over the instruments. But rather than do it to the project, it's going to do it to files that I have in a particular folder. So we'll bring up the dialog. I have to go into audio extract because these videos were originally on a very popular video sharing website, so I downloaded them and popped the audio track out in a jiffy, and this is what we get. So it's asking me to select the files for batch processing, and so I'm going to do that and click on that, and there we go. This will take a while. Now don't be too alarmed by the red stuff. This is the audio as it came out of the video, and basically I've had a look at it. This particular track, the peaks, the very top of the peaks are perhaps 1.5 dB greater than 0 being the maximum, so it's slightly more than the maximum for the peaky bits in that, but it seems to sound okay. Audacity does have a clip fix thing, but I'm not getting into that for this. This is a demo about batch processing, or applying the music separation techniques and increasing the vocals to a number of files at once. So what I will do when you're watching this, I'll basically just pause the video, because there's no sense. Each one of these is going to take a few minutes to work through, and I'll edit the video so that you don't have to wait for ages. Okay, see you in a bit. So we're doing the final track now, and it's within seconds of finishing, and there we go, and there we go. That's doing the exporting, and that's the whole process finished. So let's close that down. Let's go through and compare the tracks before and afterwards. Okay, so if you give me a moment, let's get the right folder up. Let's choose San Francisco. Let's put that in as the macro output. So if we go from macro output into audio extract, San Francisco, let's get the original one up. Right, I'll just swap these before and afterwards round. So having a look at the original, it's actually intrinsically quite quiet. I mean, if we had a look at just how quiet it is, it's 14 dB, minus 14 dB there. So there's no harm in that. This is using the sophisticated techniques that Megan employs to reduce the instruments, the volume of the instruments while she's singing. And you can see the overall is very uniform. In this one, where I've simply done the 9 decibel peak value boost, you can see the vocals punching through again. So let's just listen to them, and I can give this a bit more volume.
My kind of people are changing every day. I blame the revolution for keeping us the same. You brought me pretty flowers, I put them in my head.
So the numbers I chose were arbitrary, but you can see it's quite useful to be able to boost the vocals in pre-recorded music. So let's see how fast this can go. I must admit, I used the CPU to do most of the music separation. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to close that down. I'm going to take this as the original one. I'm actually going to manually, without using my macro, I'm going to select it. I'm going into Effect, and I'm going to choose OpenVINO, and I've preset it to this time use the graphics processor, so it should work faster. Some presets, I'm going to ignore that. I'm going to imply that, and we've got elapsed time and remaining time as an estimate. So we'll see how long it takes it to do this. Typically with my PC, which is rather dated and very affordable, didn't cost too much compared to all the other ones, it takes a bit longer than the track duration to do this. So we can see the estimates going at something like about 4 or 5 minutes there. So I'll just pause the video and we'll see how long it actually took. Back shortly. So while it's working, let's have a little look. It's probably got 3 minutes left, so I'll just show you how heavy it's. This is Audacity here. We'll have a look in the task manager. It is using 65% of the graphics processor, so it's certainly taking advantage of that. So I'll look at performance. Look at this, that's the graphic processor helping out. It's doing some 3D stuff and various other things here. So let's see. We've only got a couple of minutes left, so it's certainly much faster. If you've got a lot of music, realistically, if you have lots of music, like several albums, you're just going to have to let this run quietly in the background, or run it overnight if you've got lots of music. There are various things you can do in Windows, assuming you've got a Windows PC. If we have a look, we've got Audacity there. If I right click it, and using the task manager, I have to do this. I have to go down here and go to details. You can see I've kind of, that's the executable. I have set the priority to above normal. Never ever set it to real time, or you'll probably lose control of the keyboard and mouse really. So that's above normal. That's my rest break, I'm not taking it. So that's it really. You can do that, or alternatively, if you want to work away and have this running in the background, you can set the priority to be lower. Set it to be below normal. You could set that to be below normal so it doesn't interfere with your work on your computer. The hidden gem in this is set affinity. My rather dated PC has 2 physical cores and 4 virtual cores. What you can do, if you wanted it not to impact you, is only give it half or a quarter of the CPU. And that's a good way to do it really. That takes effect immediately once I say okay, I'm not going to do it. It's using all the processors. This is computationally intensive really. So if we go back, have a wee quick look at performance, there it is. It's certainly using, I've only got integrated graphics on mine. I don't have a separate graphics card. But we can see if we look at this line here, we can see that it's using a fair bit of the GPU. OBS is using most of the rest, and I'm using that to screen record. Open Broadcaster software, and There's various other things running on the computer, but there you go. Let's get rid of that and see how we're doing for time. We're almost finished. There it is, elapsed time 5 minutes on a budget, basic and rather dated PC. And that's the result. What I did in the macro, of course, was to take this, normalize it, normalize that, the vocals, mix and render to the same track, and then normalize the whole lot to -1 dB. So you can certainly do this yourself, really. This audio editor is called Audacity. It's certainly clearer, the words are clearer. I'm very conscious now I'm starting to ramble on. Remind me never ever to do live television. So, or radio. So I think that's it, really. I think that's it demonstrated, really. The macro can be applied to the project that's visible in front of you in Audacity. You can see the waveforms, or you can just point it in the direction of a folder and select the files in there you want it to process. You can alter the priorities of Audacity to make it take full advantage of the PC, or to quietly shove it in the background while we get on with things. And don't forget about Affinity, because that's really useful. I like that one on the task manager. That's the friendly task manager. And so that's it, really. Maybe this is useful. I think hopefully it will be useful to people. I think that's all for now. Goodbye.